What's up, everybody? It's Sam with Rowdy Alternative, and today we're with Kyon Barnes. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How about yourself?
Good, dude. Good. So, for people who don't know, he's bassist for Kody West, and we're gonna get to know him a bit. So, how have you been, man? Keeping busy?
Say that one more time, man.
I just said, how you doing? You keeping busy?
Man, we're staying pretty busy, man. I've been doing the thing with Cody, and we are we're kind of getting started working on some new music, and I've been playing with Austin Upchurch a little bit, which has been a blast, and doing as much music as a guy can do.
Oh
So
yeah, man.
it's been good, man.
Awesome. Yeah, we love Austin Upchurch at Ray's Rowdy. And now that we're on the Austin Upchurch topic, when did this fake feud happen? What's up with that? What's the genesis of that?
Man. I'm gonna be honest. One day, probably like 4 years ago, he called me in the morning and said, "Hey, man, we should start dogging on each other on the internet." And I said, "You just made the biggest mistake of your entire life." And I've just been pretty much dragging him for years and years since then, and just no mercy. He woke up and made a poor choice that day, so I had to get him.
I gotta say, that's some of the funniest shit I've seen on Twitter, man, when you two go at each other. And I think you probably, I'd say you got the edge on him a bit. You're better with the comebacks.
I think he's a nice guy, man. I don't know if he's built like
Yeah, man, he's a very nice guy. But
that.
anyway, yeah, let's have people get to know you a bit, man. So I guess let's just start out at the beginning. When did you first start playing? I guess bass guitar, whatever you do play, man.
Man, I think like a lot of guys in the scene, I think we started, high school, you know, growing up around campfires with acoustic guitars, singing songs with our buddies, and uh, kind of started off like that. And one day I was always like just infatuated with it, and you know, could play and loved to play. And one day some kids who lived across the street from me in college said, "Hey, man, we got a bass guitar. We'll give it to you if you be in our band." So I was like, "This is gonna be awesome. We're gonna be so famous." But so I learned from there and kind of picked it up and jumped, around a few different groups of guys at Texas State, and uh, eventually. Came home for Christmas break one time, and after maybe about 2 years of playing while I was down there, and got to know Cody through his wife, who I went to high school with, Bailey. And he asked, he was getting a band together, and he was from Denton, which is, kind of where I grew up, and basically asked if I would help him, kind of get this thing off the ground. And, I had known enough about him to really like what he was doing and know that he was kind of around a lot of the right people, and a lot of people that I looked up to, and never thought I would you know get to be around or be involved with. So by the end of Christmas break, I got to tell my parents I wasn't going back to Texas State. And I was gonna be in a band instead, so that went over
I'm sure
the
that
way
went
it
over great.
did. Yeah, they were pumped, but they, they have been great and supported me. So I did that, and that was, about 8.5 years ago now. So we're still
Man,
doing it, man. It's been pretty much. We've went through one new drummer throughout the whole time, but other than that, it's been pretty much the same guys.
okay, so
So
you've been there since like the beginning of it.
yeah, I was Cody's first like full time band member. So when I joined Cody, uh, he was working as the TM for Dalton Domino.
Oh no shit.
And so when Dalton was off, it started, all of his guys would hop on, and we kind of one by one replaced his guys with full timers over the course of, it happened pretty quick, 3 or 4 months. So, one by one we filled them out, and then kind of, the rest was kind of history. Just stuck together and kept doing it. Made Green, and it kind of set us up to you know go and do the things and see the places. So it's
Yeah.
been a really good ride, man. I've been fortunate to be with those guys, and a front guy that has always taken care of us so good, and uh, it's been a lot of fun.
Right on. So describe a bit like when you guys first started out as a group. Describe a bit what the Texas scene was like back then. Like, were there any mentors or any peers of yours that you guys like worked with or anything? I know you mentioned Dalton
Man,
Domino.
so yeah, Dalton was starting. They were kind of, we started in 2016. So, you know, at New Year's, essentially New Year's Day, 2016 is when my journey started with Kody. So, it was kind of, the thing was like in the shadows rising, and, a lot of talk about that, and, Dalton, and, it was still mostly in like over the course of like the very first couple months, like people that just I looked up to and grown up to, from my perspective, being
Yeah.
obsessed with Turnpike and Randy and all those guys. And we kind of like, there were a couple guys like the guys and South Hall, and
Mm.
people like that were like, there's guys like in these other towns, like that are like us.
Yeah.
And we eventually, like, when we got to the point of linking up with those guys, like, it was the funnest thing ever, like, because we were all about the same age, and all
Yeah.
we were all just like pumped, young
Yeah,
and
man.
naive, and just pumped to be doing it. And it's funny, Green and Borrowed Time by Southall came out on the same week.
Oh, did it?
So the first time we ever met those guys was a joint CD release show for Green and Borrowed Time at
That's
Denton Rock and
sweet.
Rodeo. And, we both of us kind of like knew about each other, and then, fast forward a year and we're traveling the country with those guys, and, you know, best friends, to this day, JT and Jam and Barb, and, all those guys, they're so good. And, same goes for Co, just how like those have turned into lifelong friendships,
Yeah,
pretty
man.
cool,
That
man.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing about like not only like the Texas scene or whatever, but like your guys' specific. I guess you could call it like class. I guess I've heard people call it
Yeah.
like because like you guys do, just like you said, like you're very tight knit. You work together when you can. You have each other on to open, vice versa, and it's really cool to see that. And also a cool thing to see is that over the past couple years, let's look at Kody stuff, like Green. He's
Yeah,
more his sound has evolved into like have a rock edge and stuff.
absolutely.
Personally, I love it. But like, what do you guys think about that whole jump that seemingly the whole scene made? Austin Mead, all of them.
Man, it's crazy, and I think it's cool because I think it's been listening to a lot of the guys' records. Like, I think it's been super natural, uh, and it just kind of happened, and that is the way we went in to that
Mm-hmm.
second big project, Overgrown, which was, we were kind of in the hot seat after Green. Took a while to start, writing again, just because I had a lot to live up to. And by the time, we got to it and kind of found out what we wanted to do, and I think that is just we didn't go in with a mission, and it just kind of, we went in and did our thing, and I think our playing had just advanced, and our songwriting, and just it felt natural, and it's hard to even realize until you're listening to it on Spotify. You're like, oh, this is a lot different. you, you
Yeah.
know uh and that's what I always feel like. It's, you never know like what to think of what you've done, or like what you've recorded, until you're listening to it on Spotify.
Yeah.
And it's a different, it's like, then you can finally take a deep breath and be like, oh, okay, like, uh,
Yeah.
kind of like look back on it and analyze it. But, a lot of those guys have had kind of similar stories, and I know part of that is credit due to Taylor Kimball, who I was looking through y'all's
Mhm.
guest, and I saw you had him on, and he's great.
Yeah. Great guy.
I think that's really natural for him.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
we just came out from back there. He just got a new studio,
Mhm.
and it is so sick. It's in this old bank. So
Oh
like,
wow.
you go in different rooms to like track this or do whatever, and the different rooms are old vaults. So they still have the vaults on them. So you walk in and
Oh shit.
yeah. So his studio is called the Sound Bank, and it, it's sick. So I think
That's
that
sweet.
he's credit for that, for a lot of those guys. And I think that, maybe in a way that, some of us that, being all close and buddies, were maybe like feeding off of each other a little bit in some ways. And, it just, it felt natural. And I don't think anybody would have wanted to do something that felt like, well, look what we learned how to do today. Like,
Yeah.
and sound crazy. But yeah, it's interesting, because you show up with kind of a clean slate mentally every time, and you just kind of have to see where it goes. Honestly, I think is the best way to do it.
Yeah, man. With you guys specifically, because like when a whole scene makes like a shift like that, it's hard.
Yeah,
Not specifically you guys, but anything like it.
yeah,
It's at risk of becoming like diluted in a way. But the
man. Yeah,
yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
definitely. I think it's easy for it to like create a narrative,
Hmm.
and after somebody hears something that can be pointed to that a couple times, that it's easy for people. Oh, you know, they're doing this again. These guys are doing this too, and it's funny because it all goes back around, and it's like a circle, and seems like a lot of people are like, it's now like more roots, like natural alternative, or not Americana, I
Hmm.
should say. Like, sound is like really kind of seeming what a lot of guys are doing now, and there's a lot of guys doing such a good job uh, at that. And
I want to make it clear I wasn't saying you guys were a part of that diluted group. I was
oh
saying
no,
yeah.
no,
I was
you're
saying you
good.
guys keep it fresh and like it's like
You,
you guys are like when I look to like that sound that's going on out there, like you
yeah,
guys like own it. It's like it was meant for you guys to play, if that makes any sense.
thanks, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's good. That's what we try to do, is uh, keep it fresh, and like never hit like hit the hammer straight on the nail like too hard, and make it a little weird, and make it a little different. So
Yeah. Right on.
I
So
think if you can be original with it,
yeah,
that'll
absolutely.
do it.
Yeah. So we were talking on when we first scheduled this. You said you had a crazy story and you wanted
Yeah,
to
man.
tell it on here. So let's hear it.
Ah, man. So a lot of, I mean, I've been pretty public about it, so a lot of people know now who know me personally. But over the course of 23 to 24, I lost my hearing 100%. So I'm deaf. I have a cochlear implant.
Okay.
So, in February, one day I woke up and couldn't hear out of my left ear. And, I was like, oh, this is weird. And then took about 5 or 6 days and was like, okay, like I should start like trying to fix it, like do some
Hmm.
home remedies and stuff. Do that for like a week. And then I'm like, okay, like probably let's go to the doctor. Let's get a doctor's appointment. It takes 2 weeks to get into the doctor. And then I finally get there. They go, oh no. Well, it'll be okay as long as it hasn't been more than 72 hours. I'm
Oh.
like, oh, well, it's been 5 weeks.
Oh.
Uh, so, it sucks. And I kind of had to adjust, like, okay, I have one ear, which is an inconvenience to say the least, but
Yeah.
life goes on as normal.
Hmm.
I'm probably not the best person to go to Chili's with, but, so then about 6 more months later, so about a year ago from now, I noticed my right ear go down to about 50%. I'm like, okay, now this is like not, it's not a joke.
Right.
No, not that it ever was, but it's just
Yeah.
do at all, you know, all hands on deck. Do not miss a single chance to like do something to take care of this now. So it kind of went down and down, and it got to the point where like the pattern like became obvious that I was going to lose like totally all of my hearing. So I got, and it's interesting because at the same time I'm playing music for a living.
Yeah.
And like in the musical sphere that I live in, I didn't really want to be public about it because want, I didn't want people to say, oh, like chalk it up as, he's
Right.
done
Yeah.
or, he can't play anymore. Like, and so I was playing and it got to about November, December, and I couldn't have face-to-face conversation anymore.
Man.
So, I mean, I could sit here and, I had a baby at the house,
Hmm.
and I would, still every weekend load up, go play shows, and I couldn't even talk to the guys in the van, and, I didn't want to be dishonest with them, but obviously it's just, there was no question about it. I couldn't talk to anyone.
Yeah.
And, I've been playing with them for so long and and thankfully, like, they're so tight and like all the guys I play with, I can count on them because that was everything at those times. And it kept going to where it got to the point, like, I couldn't hear the music and I was just watching the drummer, Tyler, and, uh, I was playing and getting by a show at a time, absolutely terrified every night, get ready to play, walk around scared to death, walk in a circle and chain smoke cigarettes and take deep breaths until I had to go up there. And, when I would walk off stage, it would be like the biggest, like, yeah, like I just like conquered Mount Everest because I didn't,
Yeah.
I couldn't hear it and just
Right.
finished the whole concert and it would feel
Man.
so insane. So, uh, then I got hearing aids, and about 3 days after I got hearing aids, it went to the point where they were not, where I was beyond it. Uh,
Man.
so, it's crazy. And then it's, I needed to get this cochlear implant,
Hmm.
which is, a crazy deal. So it's a magnet and,
Okay.
the surgery is they drill a little magnet into your skull.
Mm.
And so right now you could pop this off and
Yep.
like right now you could shoot a AR-15 6 inches from my head, and I wouldn't
No.
hear it. Pop it back on, and so. But it's a crazy story, and crazy surgery, and thankfully my wife is a nurse at Cook's Children's Hospital, so we have good health insurance and stuff. But the surgery's so big, like they will do anything to like not do it, basically. So you're
Right.
fighting and fighting with insurance to get it done, and then finally one day we went to Corpus to play with Geo, and my streak of good shows came to an end.
Okay.
And I had a train wreck, and it was Kody and Gio, big show, a lot of fun, and it was a really heartbreaking moment. And then 2 days later, I went down to 100% deaf and had to tell the guys that, hey, for now I gotta chill. And thankfully, that next Monday, I was approved for my surgery a month down the road. So I was like, hey guys, like, good news, like, I'm getting this done. Don't worry about me at all, which did I still, I was like, made it up in my mind, like, nothing is gonna happen. I'm gonna be playing, like, that is, like most of the guys in these bands that we've mentioned, we've pretty much, have dedicated, our whole, like, young adult lives to playing. So, it wasn't an option or something. So I start preparing to come back after I have this surgery. And, my doctors and surgeon, they would tell me, like, I just wouldn't count on playing music like that, I in a band setting,
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's just not negotiable.
Yeah.
Like, that's not an option for me. And, God forbid you Google anything about the surgery or will it work or
Yeah.
can you play music with a cochlear implant? No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. But of course I'm just telling the guys, yeah, be back in 6 weeks. Just like,
Yeah.
kind of like taking a leap of faith, and, God bless them. They were so good, like patient and good with me up to that point. It was kind of, but it was kind of, I came back, same way I went out for a big show with Geo in Lubbock. And,
Mm.
first day it was really like, it was do or die time, man, because it was, they can love me and take care of me and do everything for me. But at the end of the day, like, if I can't play, like, they have to go on playing.
Yeah.
And I have to pass the torch. So, I mean, it was a hugely anxious moment, and showed up, and, first show after I hadn't been, I hadn't talked to anyone. I hadn't had a face-to-face conversation in 4 months. And
Yeah.
I got my surgery done, and I'm back trying to go on stage to play music in a band in front of 2,000 people a week and a half later. And I kind of hinted to my surgeon. She was like, I was like, yeah, I'll be at the show. And she's like, you're going to a concert? And I was like, oh, I'm not just going to a concert.
I'm playing it.
Yeah. So, and it went great. The guys, like, it was a super, like, emotional, like,
Mm-hmm.
kind of feel good thing. And it was kind of like, after I cracked that first one,
Yep.
it was, all right, like, let's go. We're back. And it was a moment of, I wasn't going to know if I was going to be able to do it until I'm up there and we're ripping it. And,
Yeah.
went out hot and, uh, did it and had a blast. And it's crazy because, so I can't hear it's harder for me to hear like low frequencies.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of like simulators that can tell YouTube videos what does a cochlear implant sound like, and it sounds like now that have been very fortunate with my experience. It just kind of sounds like live through like a good microphone.
Mm-hmm.
But like the first 4 or 5 days, like everyone sounds kind of like Emperor Zurg from Toy Story. And it's kind of like a detuned radio, and it's like everyone has different experiences, but and it's everybody's success level is very unique to them and like their overall experience, so they don't they're super careful and spend a lot of time on getting you to manage your expectations, and they don't tell you, this is gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
So luckily I was on the fortunate side, but it's been the greatest thing ever, and thank God it's not the 70s, or
Yeah.
I'd be wouldn't be talking to you right now. That's for sure. So it's been great, man, and getting back, and like it was another. It's been like kind of learning lesson over learning lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Some like we're kind of over like now it's just kind of like the comical stuff. The other day we played at Highway 30, and we played in the middle of the day. And so, like right now, there's no sound between my phone and me. It just streams straight to my device.
Okay.
And when I'm using my phone, it cuts the microphones. So like the external noise, my dog's probably barking at me right now. I can't hear it.
Oh wow.
And so I'm on stage playing in the middle of the song, jamming, business as usual. Mic's cut off for a second. I had put my phone in Colby Cooper's guitar vault to run on stage, and my phone starts ringing. All the all the sound stops. Ding 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 ding. And I'm sitting there trying to make it through a song, and freaking out, and just
Oh
and,
no.
so we play. By the grace of God, and it's, how people are these days. They'll call you 5 or 6 times in a row.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
I got done with it, and got done with the song, and went sprinting off stage as fast as I could, like a crazy person. Turned the phone off. So, it's been little lessons like that I've learned. I've learned through it, but it's kind of a day at a time, and like different steps that like show progress. Like getting to go doing all these shows with Austin has been great.
Yeah.
Because it's it's a different different settings, different anytime you can take on a new setting or a different environment, and kind of do well, it's great. But what I was saying is, so I don't hear like the bass notes super well. So I went
Mm-hmm.
and got this massive platform. I'd show it to you right now, but my garage is a train wreck. And I
Yes.
stand on it, and it vibrates to the notes. So I don't really hear it, but I feel it.
You feel it.
And I
Yeah.
stand on it, and you run the bass and the drums through it, and you feel it. And then like for my monitors, all I really listen to is honestly Kody / Austin's voice and a guitar, and uh, maybe a little bit of both guitars or two guitars, but keep it pretty light, and rock with the drums, and listen to the lyrics. So it's been an interesting experience. I went and did my first studio experience with Kimball a couple weeks ago, and I was so nervous. And just like I said, it's a different different environment, different challenge. And he was so good and patient to me, and knew I was nervous, and I had a little hiccup and tried to pass the bass like in frustration as soon like you do it, because I was nervous. And he was like, no, he made me keep it and made me redo it. Well, and of course, like after that, it was 100% fine, and I was kind of over it. So shout out Kimball. But it's been good, man. So it's been a crazy story. Not a lot of deaf guys playing music out there. So
No, man. Yeah.
so it's been cool. I've been fortunate and kind of wanted, I've trauma dumped on all of my friends and colleagues plenty of times throughout the deal. But if I can share enough for someone who also plays that goes through a similar situation and wonder if they're going to be okay, and maybe see a story that somebody else is going to be okay, because that's what I couldn't find. I couldn't find a single person who said, yes, I lost my hearing. I was a musician and it was all okay. That story did not exist on the
Right.
internet, at least on my phone. So, if I can at least say enough about it for someone else to feel good, or, say something to me, then I feel like something good has came out of it.
Yeah, dude, that's insanely inspiring, man. And I'm sure that's like to hear you come out good on the other end. I remember seeing you post about it when it first happened or you first made it public, and I had no idea it
Yeah.
was 100%, dude. That's like scary, but like
Yeah.
hearing and I had so many questions when you were telling that story, and you pretty much answered them all. But like
Yeah.
you hit on a bit of like adjusting to your implants and everything now while playing, and like obviously you, like you said, you got the platform and everything. How was that adjustment?
Man, so I didn't know how it was going to go down,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm doing crazy research on stuff that hadn't even existed before the situation. Little known, Jamie Gleaves of Whiskey Myers is deaf in one ear. So he
Okay.
has the platform. That is where I learned about that. And so he kind of geared me towards that. And then we run in-ears. My whole
Mm-hmm.
career we've ran in-ears. And so I don't hear through my ears anymore. I hear through this.
Yeah.
This part, I'll take it off for a second.
Yeah.
This part right here is the microphone, and
Mm-hmm.
this is where the magnet sends it to. Uh,
Okay.
so my ear holes, or whatever the scientific word
Yeah.
would be, like I don't hear through them. So, I showed up to my first show and with these big headphones to put over my microphone portion,
Yeah.
because I can't just put something in my ears. And Kody asked, "You aren't gonna wear your ears?" I'm like, "Yeah, dog. I don't
They're
hear through
useless
my
now.
ear." He's like, "Oh yeah, I guess that's right." Uh, so and then I did that for a couple weeks, and then just so damn hot and sweaty, and just the big headphones,
Yeah.
on stage, and a pain, and you just want to mess with them. And so then I went to play with Austin, but I had been doing it, and then I went to play with Austin for the first time. And, Austin doesn't run in-ears, he runs wedges, like, on the floor. So, like, to put it briefly, like, I'm sure you know this, but people hear the music they're playing one of two ways: either in headphones, which are in-ears,
Mm-hmm.
or on speakers that are pointed back at them.
Yep.
So Austin does the speakers on the floor, which gonna be a new experience for me. And so that was my first time, and I was like, damn, well, I hope this goes well. It's opening for Treaty Oak, so if it goes bad, it's gonna go bad.
Yeah.
And it actually was like lesson learned. Like that was the new, uh, I learned after that day, like that was the method that I needed to use. So I adjusted that. And, as far as like the levels of everything,
Hmm.
it's just been an ongoing learning process. So I had that board, the platform I was standing on, and honestly, I've kind of graduated from it now. And I'm just really using a thing that now goes on your strap and it shakes your strap to the notes you're playing.
Wow, I never knew about
So
any of this shit.
it's great. It's not, it's super niche. So,
Yeah,
a lot of guys like, you know, would be like, if they just saw me standing on the big board, they might be like, "Do you really fucking need that, man?" It's like it seems extra, but thank God it exists because it has. I've got all the things. The deaf guy playing music starter pack, so I've
got to get
got
back out there
options.
somehow, man.
Yeah. So I was just, not. I wanted to have it all and be ready to go, and not when. Uh, do or die, good day came, not be prepared or have what I needed. So, shout out technology.
Yeah, man. And it's if there's anything good that came out of it, at least you could look at like now you know all these different things that'll help you get through something like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. And, I'm feeling so much better now than I was when I was over the course of the time I was losing my hearing. So, I feel like after you've been what I've been through, especially as a musician, playing and, getting along pretty much as a normal guy is pretty much all you can ask for. And, it's yeah, you kind of have a lot to be thankful for after that, because as after you get approved for the surgery and you kind of sit in the dark not being able to hear, and it's a big speculation of is this gonna work, what
Yeah.
is what is life gonna be like
Hmm.
if it does work, what is life gonna be like if it doesn't work. I was pretty much already living it. And, uh, I over the course of the time between losing my hearing and having the surgery, I had a 1-year-old at the house, and I didn't know she was talking. Literally, I didn't know, and
Man.
I'll never forget the first night I came home, and of course my wife's all crying and stuff,
Yeah.
uh, and we put the baby to bed, and she says, "Can you say night night, Dada?" Night night, Dada. I'm like, holy shit. I'm
That's
like,
funny.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, so it was, that was the family and life stuff is, it was a lifesaver. And, I can't thank, I'm so fortunate for, my family and my wife and, uh, my wife's family even, and, everyone who kind of, supported me through the low times, because they were, pretty dark and pretty low. So, now it's just more than ever to be thankful for. So I'm getting my next one. I should get a call to go get my other ear done, next, probably by the end of the week, and be hopefully getting surgery done in 2 weeks or so. So, I'll be like super excited for that.
Yeah.
Cause they say like the second one's game changer. So, but after, like I said, like all the anxiety and everything comes with the first one,
Hmm.
and then this, I don't have to be, I'm still going to be hearing out of this one while I'm recovering. So there ain't nothing to the second one but going and doing it. So
Yeah, man. You're on the downward slope now when it comes to that. I guess does it
yeah,
feel
man.
like that a bit? Like you see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? Like you know what I mean? Like you're doing the damn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, man. It's been a long year and a half, but
Yeah. Glad to
it's
have you back, man.
thanks, man. Y'all are in Nashville, is that right?
Well, that's where we're based out of. I'm personally in Cincinnati, so that's why I
Nice.
do a lot of stuff like over like the computer and stuff. But yeah, I know you guys go to Nashville quite a bit, don't you?
Man, we do enjoy it a lot. We go out there. I don't. It feels like we've never played the same room in Nashville twice, but it's always a good time. Especially like your first. A lot of these guys, like I see, making like their first trip to Nashville, and like I think that's a real like milestone for a musician, and like there's nothing like the feeling of pulling into Nashville with your band and your instruments. Like it's a different kind of thing. And I remember on our first trip we did the Whiskey Jam.
Oh yeah.
We played 3 songs and snuck through the crowd, played 3 songs and snuck out, and it's like that. It's not an experience of comfort, but
Hmm.
it's definitely like it's one for the books, and like that's a memory right there, and like to feel like you've done the the Nashville experience, done a handful of cool stuff there. So every time is always fun.
Yeah, I know. It's funny you say that. I think Austin's was his first time in Nashville was one of our events, and he came up there with Reed Barton, and it was just for like an acoustic round set. And like he thought it was like the coolest thing ever, which that made me feel good. I'm like, oh well, yeah, no problem, man, sure. It's just like
No
it was
problem.
just it's cool seeing you guys out there come and play
But
around where I live.
and that is the same thing to be said for that. It's
Yeah.
even though it's like the best and like most memorable situations, like they're not usually one of like glory, I feel like. So
Well, he killed the stage that night. I could say that he killed it.
I believe it, man. His new stuff he's been putting out is absolutely terrible, but no, I'm just
Dude, I was thinking of dropping him a link to this and have him pop on like as a surprise, but I totally forgot. I thought that would have been hilarious.
no, dude. He's been cutting. Uh, I've been having a blast playing his new stuff. His guys are. It's so funny because my guys like we we're usually turn and burn every night. Like
Hmm.
we, my guys are all like introverts. They can't wait to get home. My guys are Kody, and we kind of get and do our thing, set up. Everyone's kind of to themselves, getting, shoot as quickly as we can. And we played in the far southeast of corner of Missouri this weekend, and they, roll out of bed the next morning about noon, sit in the parking lot, go to the Steak and Shake. Hey, would you like, will this be for here to go? Dine in, please. And we got a 12-hour drive, and I'm like, Jesus. Hey, asking the guys, my family's asking if I'll be home by Christmas. So we just, they're so fun to be around, and they're just, not a worry in the world. Happy group. Austin himself is definitely like representative of the rest of the group, like, and
Oh yeah.
they're the way they roll, but they're super fun to be around, and played some awesome shows with them. Like I said, we did Treaty Oak and a couple of shows with Dexter and the Moon Rocks, which were absolutely awesome. Uh,
Dude, yeah.
I didn't know a ton about those guys, but so good. They want the venue we played the second night in San Antonio, Stable Hall. I had never heard of it or been there. It was one of the nicest rooms I've ever played, packed to the brim, and their audience was super receptive of Austin. I think that they have a really good audience that is a little different. It's a little, it's not your typical Texas country guys.
Yeah.
And I was talking to James, the lead singer, about it. And he's like, he said, yeah, some days we don't even feel like part of the scene, which sucks. And I'm like, well, most people would say that's awesome that,
Yeah.
you know, y'all are doing your own different thing. And, you know, I would definitely say they're a part of the scene. It's just a cool part that, if anything, brings a different crowd into it, you know, and introduces it to people, see people. Mitchell wasn't on the show, but they're wearing, you know, Mitchell Ferguson shirts
Oh yeah,
everywhere, and I know
love
he's
him.
played with them a lot. He's the
Yeah.
man, dude.
Yeah.
Crazy talented.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, fun times, man. Fun
Yeah.
times getting to,
Dexter.
uh,
Dexter and the
yeah.
Moon Rocks. Sorry to interrupt you. Dexter and the Moon Rocks. I had them on. I've never felt so out of control in an interview until I interviewed those guys. Like it started, and then all of a sudden, it felt like they were interviewing me, and we were talking about like Tostitos and shit. It's like, you know what? I don't care. That's we just burnt a good 45 minutes. We're good to go.
They're cool, man.
Yeah, they're
I
great.
could, I can totally see that. Super nice guys. So yeah, doing things like that, meeting new people, as long as, you know, that's the best. It really is the best part of the scene and being a musician, and just getting to meet people in these other bands that are like, at the end of the day, regardless if they sound like Gio or Randall King, like,
Yeah,
we're pretty much like, as people, we're not that different from each other. Like, you know,
right.
we have a lot in common, and you know, we all get along pretty good, and it's, you know, it's pretty easy to make friends with most of the people we get down the road with. So uh,
Absolutely. Yeah,
I
man.
think it's been cool, man.
Awesome. So whether it's I know you said that you're gonna be busy soon with the other implant, but do you have anything that you could tell us coming up, like new music with Kody or anything you could share?
Man, we did we did a handful of songs. We got 4 down the other day. We'll be in and out. I don't
You don't have
wanna
to
get
give away
myself in
nothing.
trouble.
That's
No,
good.
that I think it's safe to say there's be new music in some capacity sooner than later.
Right on.
And you know, hopefully everyone digs it. So
Hell
first
yeah.
stuff out of Kimball's new studio. So you know, we're excited. It's, you walk in there and it feels like somewhere like Chris Stapleton would record or something. Like, crazy cool, nice. We're excited, man.
Awesome. So Kai, man, thanks for hopping on, dude. It was great talking to you. That was incredible story with you hearing, man. I knew that you were going through that, but I didn't know it was that bad. And it's really good to see you back and getting better and learning how to deal with it, dude.
Hey, man, I really appreciate it. I appreciate you having me, man. I hope to see you next time we're in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'll make my way out there. I promise. And also, before we head out, do you have any plugs like socials, anything you want to throw out there?
Yeah, man. I'm on the gram, like all of us. KYONMB, and I mean, that's pretty much where the stuff I do got going on is going on. So
Yeah.
check it out.
And look out for the next big beef between him and Austin because it's the most
It's
entertaining shit I've ever read.
I appreciate it. I got big plans.
Oh yeah, but yeah, Kai, thanks for hopping on, and we'll see you guys next time.
Absolutely, man.